progressed, people have come up with some other ways of doing that. Now, you can put you can put something in just one LLC. So let's just say we took out 2 of those and just created LLCs for each individual property. Sure. Yeah, the music is one of those things.
We tried to record it and I forgot to get the recording going.
All right. So you can have multiple properties in an LLC. Not personally, you're not liable, but your due diligence, your work, your sweat, your blood is in this LLC, and you have everything in there. So it's really hard to sleep at night knowing that I have everything in one place, and I had to find a different process for that. And so what we found is we could create subsidiary LLCs. Now subsidiary LLCs are great, but there's some drawbacks, and there's also some benefits. Now the benefits are the sub can be written in operations agreement to protect from what we now have as a master LLC, which is our primary. Okay, so we have our primary LLC, and then we have subs. Now, these subsidiary LLCs, we can put our real estate into that LLC. And what these are is you can think of those as little sisters or children of your LLC. Now, you have to have a bank account though for these LLCs so that you can keep books proper. Now, the only real drawback is every time I buy real estate, and I keep buying more and more, and that seems to be the snowball effect. So the problem is I have to pay the state every time I create this LLC. And does anybody know the cost of what it $750? I think once you get done it'll be $8. But you're right, $750 is the basic fee here in Texas. Now, every year I have to pay a yearly fee, and it's $300. Now that's for my master, but I also have to pay that for my subs. So that's okay if I only have 2 or 3 properties. But the problem is now I have multiple bank accounts. I also have, so that's more bookkeeping. And now I'm having to, as I grow into having our 30, 40, 50 properties, now we're paying $300 every year. And that's a real negative on my bank account. All right, so again, now we have to find something better. So we're going to go back real quick and look at how this does help with subsidiaries. Now, the benefit is that we could put, like we did with one LLC, and the master has the rights to control and hold the equities of what your assets are within this LLC. Now, they can still come and get everything in this LLC if I get a suit. But with the way we work out your agreement, you cannot sue the master, nor can you sue us another sub. So your protections are, if you're smart and you create one property per LLC, per sub, then you're protected by no one able to sue any of your other properties and get any kind of judgments. So you're limiting your liability by not having all of your LLCs and all having multiple properties and all those properties being taken in one suit. Now, so I have to create one for each property, and now that's good protection, but it's expensive. It's terrible on my team and on their bookkeeping. So I pay more for their time, my CPA's time, my attorney's time. Now, that does hedge us, and so I feel a little more protected that way. But the real negative, again, is it's bookkeeping money, right? Now, again, 70 properties, it's real expensive equipment. So there has to be a better way, right? So we never use subs. And the reason why, again, it was expensive. So there's another practice. And this has been going on for about 11 years. It was created in Delaware. I think 11 states, and Texas is one of them that does have statutes. So attorneys will, especially new attorneys, And older attorneys will definitely understand it. Newer attorneys have been, if they're in their 10 years of their practice, they have been around long enough to probably catch wind of this of how this works. And this is actually the system that we start with when we create LLCs. And it's all in our operations agreement. We structure it so that none of our series LLCs or cells are able to be sued, or our master can be sued. So the liabilities fall with only on one series. Now, as you keep hearing, I say series, and that is an SLLC. And it is not a subsidiary. It is not the previous subs that we were talking about. Now, the functionality is very similar. Okay, here's the benefit of the series LLC. The benefit is I can create this series LLC with no documents from Texas, no filing, no public records. No one knows about me creating the series LLC until I create something publicly with an assumed name certificate, for instance. Yeah, you're fine. I've got that. So the series LLC, or cells as we like to call them, we look at them as ways of grouping business practices, business agendas, maybe assets. Maybe I put my RV parks in one. Some people may like to put $200,000 of assets in one, whatever. But here's the idea. You're creating these single cells that have individuality from each other on having any liabilities. So if I had a house in Series 1, let's go to the house first, and we'll do a couple, and then we'll go from there. We'll head off to the.
All right.
So we create a series, and again, this is we can get in. This is where this comes into some of our personal business practices. But your attorneys, and we have groups here in Midland, Odessa that can work these things really well for you. You don't need to know a whole lot about them. You just need to know a few basics, and that's what I'm going to try to get to you. And I will jump around and come back so that all this makes sense. We will go through a full structure, hopefully, of how we put our assets into something. So, as we go forward, though, so we have our master LLC. We create a series LLC. Now you can name these anything you want. There's actually nothing that you have to keep. I don't have to go holding LLC and Series 1 LLC or holding LLC Series 1. I don't have to do that. I can call it Purple House on Red Street. Anything. I can call it LLC. It does not matter because it is a piece of paper and it's an assumed name certificate. Okay, so now I can do business under this series. If I want to collect, let's say I want to hold an RV park and I actually want to try to collect and do business as, I can file a DBA. If I file a DBA, now I have a new LLC, and I didn't have to go through the hassle of filing my register. So I'm saving money automatically. Plus, I can dissolve this with a stroke of a pen as well. Now, you know how hard it will be to dissolve your LLC? So make sure you choose what you want before you get going, because it's really hard to really dissolve. Disable is one thing. Dissolve is a totally different procedure. And I'm just going to say you don't ever really dissolve them. So you'll always get something from the mail, something somewhere, because you'll always be out. So you're never ever really dissolve an LLC or corporation. Now let's look so in the series, if we have one series, we put one house in it. Now what have we done? We've created very little liability because the only thing that they can come and get here in the suit is the one asset that we put in the sell, correct? So if I want to have my condo over here and I want to have, my other assets, I don't have to worry about my ski condo, someone slipping and falling, affecting my Houston assets, or a Houston flood affecting my West Texas assets. And in our business, we leverage our properties. So even if you did break through our shield, you did break through the next step that we'll get to, and you were able to find out who actually had these properties, you would still find that we only have one asset, and you would find that it's leveraged. So you're going to go, the attorney's going to go back to the client and say, look, you're going to have to pay me up front. Well, why is that? You'll get whatever we get from the, from the condo. Well, we've got that leveraged out. So there's no way we're ever going to get paid. That man's going to sit on that stuff for the rest of his life and create cash flow off of everybody renting it out for you. Pay for all of his legal fee, and you're never going to get anything. We're just going to maybe get a judgment, it's just going to be a junior league. So, point being, I can leverage certain things. I can even get a certain series in trouble, you could say, and still go on with my life. So my business isn't affected by one problem. So, now that you kind of understand that just a little bit, so now we can group them. We've talked about that. We've talked about dissolving them. Let's see if we can take it to the next step. So, oh, now here's a benefit. So series LLCs, like a minute ago, the subs, you have to have a bank account, but you need to keep really good books. So you need to keep good books of all your LLCs, otherwise they can strip your, if you don't act like a corporation, you don't get the benefits of a corporation. So keep good books, which means don't steal from Paul to pay Peter. Don't run everything through an LLC. And we'll get into another possible LLC you want to create to keep things correct, and that's a property management company. Now we'll get to that here as we go as well. So the structure, the reason why I bring that up is because we don't necessarily get bank accounts for our series. We use tags such as memos, kind of like a trust memo or an assumed name, not assumed name,
DBA.
no, not a DBA, for banks, it's like sorry, but we do have notes. So it allows us to do an FBO for benefit of. So we create an FBO. Sorry, I don't. She does, or one of the girls do. I don't. I don't do this very often. So the FBO, we call our banker. The banker gives us the form. We basically for benefit of. So if our tenant writes a check, we're able to cash them to whatever name. So if we created a different series number 1, and they wrote the check to series number 1, we just get our checks cashed. Okay. So you don't have to create bank accounts. You can. If you have a good banker, they allow us to create checks using without having to go and file a DBA, which allows. And the reason why we don't like doing DBAs is because we don't. It puts our name on public record every time we file with any kind of tax agency. Okay, so we'll get a little bit as we get down further through this here in a minute. You'll see why I've been talking as trying to shield yourself from the public. So if this works as well as I am saying it does, there's still something that's better with this same agenda. So if we take the series LLCs and so if we take the series LLC, yep. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions up to now? Shoot.
Do you always keep your assets leveraged even down the road? So you've been paying on it for a while, do you just borrow against them again? Or?
Yep. If I have cash flowing in an asset, not to get way off topic, we will go back to that, but yes. it's a lot easier for me to keep cash, keep liquid. If it's, my house, our property's gonna appreciate with inflation. So no matter what, the dollar's going down, my house and my property are going up. So there's no reason for me not to grab that money, have it in a liquid account under an LLC for the benefit of liquidity. Because as you know, you've got a contract, you have time, right? That's the only thing that's affecting you. So you need liquidity to make everything work. Every fire that comes up, every hoop you need to jump through, you need money. And it's not a lot most of the time, but you need. So it's a lot easier for me to go get that money back and put it back against it to sell it, to move it. And if I've already leveraged that property and I have that cash in hand and I need to liquidate that property, that's an escrow issue. Right? So I just get less at escrow. So money now is a lot better than money later. Right? So yeah, leveraging the property is always a benefit. And when you're leveraging, what do you do? You know, again, credit's great, but your financial statement is what big boys use, right? Investors use that. We're not in high school. We don't have a report card. A report card is a credit score. We go to a banker, we talk, what is our cash flow? So if I have a lot of cash, what do you want to do? You want to do business with, right? So, yeah, so you want to keep money. And again, why not? You might need to fix something, you might need something, and as long as your property's creating cash, it's paying for itself. A little interest loss, you know, hopefully, you know, you do it a few times, interest is less than that. So. But,
Can you use one of your other LLCs to leverage on the property?
good idea. Yes, you can. Now, you can't use the master LLC or series. That's also why you keep your LLCs closed, okay? Member, okay, from different states, there's ways of closing. We'll go through a little bit of that. But I'm going to show you a method that even works here in Texas, okay? So, yes, you're right on. It is very good to use in your own, I mean, if it's just your partner, but whatever, use another LLC to leverage your property. Sure. But I can help you. You're going to see down the way how we've even kind of got around that a little bit. So if we get scared, we think something's happening, we hear about something happening, like a storm came through and we had a lot of property in our LLC, we have ways of moving a pin across the paper that moves our assets. So we're not going to get hurt. So, okay, so let's go to this. Now, as we move through, we have our series LLC. Again, you can name it whatever you want, however you want. You can put as many assets in it as you want. We like to put one. That's all we want to lose. Right? That's all we want to tie up. So, we actually moved down into a land trust. Does anybody know what a land trust is? Right? You know what a land trust is? Do you have a definition or a close idea? Kind of? Where they originated or anything? Okay, it can be used that way.
You don't have to, they're recorded, but it's not recorded with the
Lee, do you know? Huh?
Chicago?
Oh, okay, we got history. Yeah, actually, you are about, I don't know, about 2,000 years too late. Actually, it started calling the Romans. And really where it got big was somewhere in England. I think it was the 8th, Henry the 8th. Anyway, yeah, okay, so I'll give you real quick, only because you gave it. So Henry the 8th had a financial issue, he needed money. So what he did is he figured out, well, you get money from the people that own land. Well, the people that own land was the church and working people, because they were pretty much a agrarian. Anyway, lots of plowing, lots of work in the land, right? So he took all he could take from the church, and so he started putting men. He couldn't take it straight from them, so he put them in the war and just wouldn't send them with the right equipment. So they would die, and women didn't have the same rights as men, so they would actually lose the property because they couldn't work it. They didn't have the rights to work it. And so men were going to war knowing they were going to die, and their family was going to be out on their rears. So they came up with attorneys, came up with a plan with them to basically create a trust. So you have a trustee, which ends up normally being an attorney. Now they don't trust attorneys. So they write up agreements to keep him from being able to do things like, we can allow you to sell it or not sell it, we can allow you to get rent, not rent, we can allow you to get a loan, not to get a loan. So you can write it however you like. So you have a contract, an agreement, and what happened is Henry could not figure out how to get around that for a while. But eventually, there were some laws passed with some persuasions and heads rolling, where if you did not have some kind of title to the land and have some kind of ownership, then it would revert back to the original owner, which is dead, because I had him killed. So it would instantly go through the same fall, and he got all his properties back. So people lost their way. So now you jump 2,000 years into the future, and you have Chicago. So you have laws that say you can't, if you own property, you can't vote on this building or a project going up that's done by the government. So if it's something to do with that, you can't vote on it if you own land there. So the mob have all the property in Chicago. So what did they do? They came up with laws or statutes that said, okay, this old English law is what we use, but we're going to make statutes that say you don't have to have any, say, equity or anything in any kind of interest in the property or in the trust. So by doing that, all of what King Henry had already said changed. And there's all 50 states, and you may hear this. It's one of those myths. Is we don't do land trust. You'll probably go to an attorney here in Odessa, and they'll tell you, land trust. No, we don't do it. A lot of times those land trusts, people, first off, you said land, and land just means that it's a real estate trust, because there's living trust, there's, and those are more for your retirement, right? Now, those are still revocable trusts, and you have non-revocable trust. A non-revocable trust is something that is created but you can't dissolve. A revocable trust says I can create it and I can dissolve it or change it. So it's a revocable grantor trust. Now, when you go around and you start saying land trust, people's ears burn. Now, I don't know why, don't care. I just don't say land anymore. I don't put land in my trust, man. I don't put land anywhere to do with anything. It's a grantor trust. So write this down. If you go to talk to someone about a trust, you do not say land. You say, hey, can I hire you to create a grantor trust? You don't ask, are land trusts valid in Texas? Because what you will get is hands thrown up, because most attorneys will just fall to the other way when they don't, first off, hear money, or what's in it for them, or they don't really feel comfortable. They'll always tell you it's not, they'll hedge themselves and say, it can't be done. So it's just not done. You can even in California, you can have, they do some land trust. Now, again, land is just the word you don't want to use, and we can get it, it just gets, no reason to peel the onion on it. Just once you figure out that you take land off of it, everybody all of a sudden, because you had your grandmother have her grantor trust done, it's just called a living trust. And they, so it's the same processes. You're just putting real estate, the whole title. But here's how we go. So, if we have, Okay. Let's get on the history though. I like that. So basically the mob has helped us, right? Because they were able to get the projects done and no one was able to see because a trust held title on that building, right? So when they went to the public record, looked up who owns this building, it said, Lee, trustee of mob building number 5, right? And so they thought Lee was, and they can't see this to see who the beneficiary is. And the beneficiary is who is able to do all changes, owns, basically operates, but more like manages your trustee. Okay, so who's a trustee? So a trustee is a nominated, and I like a nominated trustee. So we'll go over some things you don't do with a trust, but we're going to go over how you first set your trust up. So your nominee trustee does not need to be your wife, does not need to be your husband, doesn't need to be your brother. It needs to really be someone that can't tie you back necessarily to your real estate property. And I always try to say someone that isn't in the real estate, because I don't want them to have, there are possibilities that he gets into tax trouble. He could possibly have my property cleaned. Now, I would go and just fire him with my pen, rehire me a trustee, go to court. Then a little bit of pain, I would have it all resolved. But I don't need that pain. I have houses to buy. So let's go to why we pick someone such as, it might be my fifth cousin, or it might just be my neighbor across the street that I've lived across for 20 years. Now, he doesn't need to do anything. I don't need him to come to work every day. I don't need to pay him anything. He is just strictly the whole title is or be the trustee to hold title for my property. So if I have a property and you read my deed, it shows that my trustee holds the title to that property. Now, they don't know who me is, right? Because our trust is a piece of paper that sits in my filing cabinet, and they does not get put on public record. I do not file that with my county. I do not go to my clerk and say, please put this on public record. I don't give it to my attorney and have him file it. The reason why is because it's a revocable trust, which means I can change it. And who's the beneficiary? Me. So if I want something changed, I don't like my trustee. I think, for whatever reason, I fire him. Now, I normally tend to fire the trustee right off the bat. And there's a reason for that, and we'll get into it in just a minute. But the reason why we get a trustee and we put them up there is because if they can't see what's in the trust, which means they can't see the beneficiary, because when you put it on public record, and they can't find who owns the house or the property, right? If they can't find that, then we're back into that first part, which said, like, maybe we leveraged our property. But again, now we've gone through, they've already found out that they can't touch these because of our series. We have a land trust they can't see in. And within that land trust, my corporation is the beneficiary, not even me. So who owns that corporation? I do. So even if they were able to see through it and find out, because this is actually going backwards. So public record is going to find my land trust on record. My land trust I'm a beneficiary, which is my LLC, which is my series LLC. They'll never ever be able to find out much further than that, because the only way they can get into my trust is if they go get a warrant, or a writ from a judge. And they're just not going to get that. So unless we're in real deep suit. So see if I'm still on track. And I'm sure I've confused you a little bit, and I'm sure there's a lot of questions, but we will go back through this, and I'm going to do an example as well. So I'm going to show you how we take something you already own and deed it to my trust, right? So let's say, hey Lee, you have property, right? Okay, so you're going to create a new series LLC, all right? And with that series LLC, you're going to create another series called my mobile home park. Okay, so anybody that's hurting your mobile home park can only sue the series 1. Okay, so they can only sue series 1 when they can't touch your other assets, right? So you feel good. But we took it a step further, right? So they don't even know who, at this point, this is all you've created. So we go out and we take your asset, and we're going to deed it. We're going to write up a deed. Now again, never ever use a quick claim deed. Okay? I don't care what program somebody's got, never ever use a quick claim deed. Use a warranty.
What's it called?
Quick claim?
Oh, yeah, you said to use something.
Warranty. So you use a warranty deed. So you take we'll write up a warranty deed. Now, are you going to take this and have it deeded straight to you? Or are you going to have it deeded to your series LLC? You're going to have it deeded to your master? You're going to have it deeded to your land trust? Okay, so I have my property, even if I'm buying it or I already own it. But if I have this property and I don't want anyone to be able to see, you got it. So I'm going to deed it to my land trust. Now, where's that land trust come from?
Let's back up for a second. Make sure everybody knows the difference between a warranty deed.
Now, I can't.
Okay.
If you want to go into that, you can, but that's another rabbit.
You guys like
But, yes. So, you create, so you have your property, you're going to create a deed, you're going to put it deed into a land trust. Now, where did you create your land trust?
What's that?
Where'd you get your land trust from? Right, it's a piece of paper, it's roughly 30, 40, almost 40 pages, but it's really the first and the end is really important. Anything in the middle, no one else gets to see, okay? So, you take our land trust, and again, I'm not going to get into the details on that. Your attorneys will help you build it properly if you understand this procedure. So, if you when you deed that to your land trust, the reason how you created your land trust was a document. Right? So now I have a land trust. And but who is the beneficiary of my land trust? Which one? My series or my master? Series. Okay. So if we deed it to the series LLC, here's the thing. Earlier, I said the best thing about the series LLC is I do not have to create a DBA. I don't have to file it with the state. So, if that's the case, when they go and someone pulls up my title, they're going to see that it has a nominee, blah, 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 and there's a land trust. But let's just say they could get, and we went to the bank and we needed to get a loan. This is how because we got to let someone in our land trust move forward for that. So I need to kind of show you. So let's go that we need a refi or leverage, okay? So I need to be able to take it to a bank. And they're going to pull the title, right? And they're going to look at my land trust. The problem is they're going to look at this Series 1, and they're going to go out and try to find that. And they can't find it on public record. So how are they, sir, I don't know who owns what. How do we give this guy? You're not them. How do we give this thing? Oh, I am this. I bring my LLC papers. Doesn't matter. Now, the reason why is because this is not a taxable entity. Okay? So, I can make this a taxable entity. I can file a DBA. Right? And that would make it taxable entity. But, that's where no one ever gets to get into my land trust unless I need them. And if I need to go get a refi, I'll flip it back to myself if I need to, all by land trust, by giving myself back capability. I take it back away from my corporation, basically, okay? So we won't, well, a lot of times in our land trust, we will push it back to our master LLC. Now, the only reason we do that is because this has If I want to go get a loan or refi I can put it back to my master and it's real easy, simple. But in my land trust, this is not who I'm titled to. But again, like I said, if you want to go get a refi or you want to go get a loan, no one's going to find this entity. It's not. It's just a piece of paper that says this exists. Because this has, its management agreement, operations agreement says this exists. Right? And this says it exists, but it exists solely by itself. That's really the agenda. So back to where we were at. So we deed ourselves to our land trust. We take our property, we deed it to our land trust. But inside the land trust, that's what we'll take over on that. So the land trust, though, has beneficiary, which is our LLC, which is our series, which protects us. You have another? I'll go there. Okay, I can do that. Yeah, I think I can go to mark it. Okay, so we'll go through another scenario, and this will help you to kind of see it even a little bit more. And then I'll go over some things you don't want to do as well with your land trust, etc. Let's go over that, and then we'll go through a couple more examples. Because that's all it is. It's just understanding the right way you need to structure it, and then it's just finding your professional attorneys to put it together. And you just need a couple of them to do it. Really. And my point is you're using a couple tools that other investors, other people are just not going to use. A lot don't understand series LLCs just because they're just stuck in understanding, I just need a corporation, I'll run everything under it. And what's the chance of me getting two? This doesn't cost me. So why not do it? And then trusts are a way of me creating all kinds of benefits. And that's what we're going to jump into once I get past just a minute. Because even though this structure here, you can see it, the trust gives me power behind my desk to basically do a lot with my property by structuring it. Okay? And that's where I want to get to. So this is really important. If you don't understand how you can use a trust, then this structuring is just to hedge you. This is where the real it just makes you able to do more, cost less. I can give a lot of benefits just by having a trust, and that's what I'd like to get here in the next few minutes. What time are we supposed to wrap up?
I'm gonna let you run on.
When anybody needs to fill out, you can. It won't hurt my feelings. It doesn't take it personal. So let's write down some things you don't want to do with the land trust. Okay? And then I can start maybe going down some examples and more rabbit holes. Okay, so we've been over that a trust is a grantor trust and it's a revocable trust, and that it's, we don't want to use land, right? So we've been through that. So number one, we don't want to use land in when we create a land trust. Because remember, a land trust, what is that? Take it away and just realize it's a real estate, a property, a trust. It's a real property trust, and that's just the takeaway from that. So next, don't use your home address for your any tax purposes. Anything you file with any tax organization, don't send anything that has to do with your corporation or your LLCs to your house, to your manager's house, to your wife's property in Oklahoma, Tennessee. Doesn't matter. In the case that they can't get in and find out who owns the property because you have it in a land trust. The title is our nominee trustee. Well, they can't see in there. You would hate that they just went to who's paying the taxes and found you via your address and said, well, hey, why is so-and-so got that? You follow? Right? That's how they open up and get, it's social engineering, it gets you, that normally breaks through into your trust, finds your corporation, and then finds you, okay? So don't use an address, get a PO box, right? And I recommend getting a PO box. If you're interacting with customers, you're especially sellers, you need to have a PO box. Selling houses or renting property, it's okay for interaction. And when you're buying houses, you want to tend to try to have a little bit less, a little bit more protection between you. The reason why, and I'll just, a couple quick examples. You'll always have someone that thought that you sold the house for more than what you gave for it, no matter who you are, what you gave for it. A boyfriend or somebody come back wanting to get you for you taking advantage. You'll have some kind of issue that rolls back from a seller, not a buyer, but a seller. So in your business going forward, it's always remember try to use PO boxes, that way. So now the other thing. So if you understand that you don't put land in your name, right? We got that. So don't put name in there. Don't use an address, and don't serve as your own trustee, right? We kind of went over that a little bit too. You can't serve as your own trustee because first off, now you're on the title again. Didn't help, right? I'm not saying you can't, but it's not necessary. And there's no need to, and it doesn't help, and it just complicates, right? So you don't serve as your own trustee. And I would one of the others. So two things that happen. So we talked a little bit. We'll go back to it. So we do a transfer, right? We buy or transfer our assets into our trust. Well, two things that people don't do. Once they get that all done, and they even they forget to transfer the beneficiary over to their LLC. They'll get all the way through most of all this process if they've even there to create a trust. And the reason why I say this happens a lot in grandma and grandpa's living trusts. And this happens, and then you see a pattern of it when real estate people start using it. And the reason why is we think we got it all done. We just got to transfer it. I got the trust. I got the house. And for some reason they just forget. But you got to transfer the beneficiary's interest to your LLC. And that's really done easily. There's a few documents that say, I transfer, the beneficiary, I accept the interest basically, and then the corporation says I accept, and I basically do a document that says I give. And it's like a bunch of switch back. So it's really, really easy. So if that's the case, don't forget. You get it, you get your deeds, you buy the house, you put it in the trust, whatever. Don't forget to give that over to your corporation. Because if you do, then you have, now if they get in, it's all you. And you have no shield from corporate to stop you from them taking your stuff, right? And take your assets. So you just forgot this part. And they come after everything else because you forgot to sew it up in your ass. The other, don't call your bank. If you have a mortgage on it, and there's other ways of getting hold of property with mortgages still attached. So if you go through those processes, you acquire that, you move it into a trust, you call your bank. The reason why, there's two reasons. When you moved into a trust in 384, there was a law passed that keeps them from calling your note, okay, when you do a transfer. So, and that's to do on self-clause or acceleration. So accelerate your note, and you just don't need it. They would have to stop anyway if they started it. And it's just a transfer to one trust. Now, banks these days, they see things happening going to the trust, they just think you're getting into retirement phase or getting ready to set up for, just better days. So don't call them. They're real negative of that. Besides, if they did the deal on seller accelerator, you know what a lot of banks have? Nobody reads their mortgages. They have a 1% on whatever's left on your note. And the next thing you know is you get a bill for 1% on what's left on your note. It's called transfer fee. And it's in most people's mortgage. Don't call your bank. And there's no reason. You don't need to. There's no. Okay. Because as investors, we all know you own your house. You have a mortgage. This is just the IOU against it, right? With the lien saying if I don't pay, you take the house. So if I have the deed, I can transfer that anywhere I want. I don't care about this mortgage. That's a payment. That's an IOU. That's a whatever. You know? So I can hold that forever, or I can even send that to someone else. But I can move the deed anywhere I want. I can title my property. Why? I own it. Okay? So don't forget that. You really have to understand. Otherwise, if you can't start understanding the deeding process, you won't be able to move your stuff as easily around in trust. Just realize you own your property. So it's hard to realize until you've been in it a little while. So if we do that, we go through, we put our land trust. We got everyone in there. We stay away from those 5 mistakes. We didn't call the bank. We didn't use ourselves. We didn't use people. We used something like a PO box. We didn't get any problems. Got our stuff in the land trust. We gave all the beneficiary is now my LLC. We're set. Right? I can go on making more money. So now that we've hit that, I know we have a lot of questions, but I'd like to talk a little bit of some things that you do when you have a trust. Okay? So this is awesome. I want y'all to learn all of that. That's great. That a trust will allow you to, like I said, you can transfer the interest to my corporation. I can move my properties in and out of my trust. So let's say I had 4 or 5 properties sitting in my trust. And like I said earlier, I got wind that I maybe have a suit coming or, an accident. I'm not going to probably change it if I know I have a suit. That would be, pretty harmful if someone asked me up the road. So let's keep that in mind. But, so I told you don't file your trust, right? So your trust documents never get filed. The only thing that got filed in this situation was a deed that has my trustee. Other than that, no one knows what it owes. Now, if they go search and I use the same trustee for everything, then they can search that trustee across the document and see that trustee's on 10 trusts for those 10 properties, right? So then they might say, okay, well, there's a chance that that's all the same person, right? That's all the same investor, maybe. Let's just say we have an ambulance chaser. Well, I had those 3 or 4 properties that I land trusted. I got wind of that. Well, I have a document that moved those in, and I took those beneficiaries. I was telling you that we make a document what's the interest or beneficiaries that moved around, right? Well, I had it notarized. Everything's good. And I never filed it. So what happened? Tore it up. Building trash never existed, never seen it, never had it, never even real. This is what happened. Those reverted right back to the other series wherever I had them, or whatever interest I had. Because they never existed, I never filed them, unless I needed to. I need, right? Now, the other benefit. That keeps me, I can move them in and out. I can also move them to any corporation that I own or another corporation. Right? So, am I filing this stuff if I need to move my house to another corporation, maybe get it leveraged, maybe whatever, right? Don't necessarily need to worry about going and filing that because I don't need to reset a new deed and have it titled that way. If I did that, then I'm killing what's happening in the back of my land trust. Okay? The land trust doesn't really stop back. It's just an agreement. It's a document. It's just what we're say we're doing. That I'm taking interest, giving interest. So The reason that helps is I'm able to sell property that way. I'm able to take and move my property around my own structures. I can easily give you, all of the beneficiary of my property, I can give you, sign you as a beneficiary, and you now own all the properties. Nothing changes at the county clerk.
Thank you.
No problem. And so you don't get hurt, nobody knows you own them, and so nobody chases you down. Now, if you needed to sell those, do the same. Now, when does it change? When you change the title, when you go and refile to change the deed, that's when it goes, that's when you become public again. But what's public? Your nominee. And you can change the nominee because you took over. I can change it. In fact, most of the time, like I said, I fire them instantly. And I write up, so as soon as I sign the document, not at closing, as soon as I sign the document, or at closing, my nominee resides. The reason I do that is because when he resigns, he reverts all of the interest and things back to my corporation. The reason he benefits is because now he's just on paper, he doesn't have anything to do with it, and I have a new nominee, which is, whoever I want, wherever I want, and I don't have to file that either. Now what I do, we notarize every time we do anything. Why? Because that's just time stamp. So if I need to go and file that paper later, it's valid. So now, if I need another scenario, okay, here's one. So you're in the RV business, or you want to create a new RV business, you had a mobile home, or you're indifferent. I can create a series, and I can create a DBA, so I can call it, Holdings RV Park LLC. As long as I get a DBA, then I can run that as a bank, run that through a bank, run that everything, and then I can structure it down the same way. And I didn't necessarily have to spend $800. You create something in your office, the office staff on it. Now, I'm going to start with that because we do have a lot of people that have multiple parks, have multiple assets, and so I'm going to show you how to keep your books. Like I said, this only works if you keep books properly. So, and banking is kind of an issue. So let's just take all that out of the way, right? So here's how you do it. So you create another LLC with a property management LLC, right? So we have all this, but we're going to come up here, we're going to create a property management. Okay? And we can make it a corp, an LLC, it doesn't really matter. But I like my LLCs and I like my series LLCs. So I'm going to create a series LLC. It doesn't cost me much difference. Attorneys do a little more work. Other than that, it's just a phone call. So, now, so if we create this property management, so the benefit here is they deal with all the tenants, okay? So they collect all the money, they sign all the leases. Now how we do that is in our operating agreement, we write up that this series or this main master is managed by this property management. Okay? And in its operation management, the operating agreement, we mention the same thing, that we manage our own assets from whatever master LLC. Okay? So the property management deals with all of that. Deals with finding renters, deals with advertisement, everything. It's our face for anything we do for pushing out our real estate properties. Right? It's not our buyer, not who signs it's not who signs on the contracts. Okay? And our contracts are assignable, so we'll sign whatever LLC we want, and we'll sign on the title. Okay? So we create another LLC series. But if we need to, we can always create other series if we need to. You know, again, I said it's not just about assets, it's about business practices. These cells, these series, you can create business type entities, group things, create things that are more suited for your type business and create that specific LLC for it. Okay? So it's not just always to put a house in. Okay? So the reason why we do this is because this way we don't have to create bank accounts. We don't have to worry about all that. All I have to do is have these guys collect the checks and then pay me. Yeah. Now, all they have to do is when they pay, they just note what series in the memos they come from. So in your QuickBooks, your FreshBooks, whatever, you type in, I need to know where, Grandview House is. Whoop. Shows everything that was done by property management for it, every check that came in. When you go to property management, you do the same thing. Everything shows up for every expense. And we're not trying to create bank accounts necessarily for every part for our property management because they can bring it in and they can tag it with the right memos, right? So stick it in some things like QuickBooks is called a trust account. So it used to be. I don't use QuickBooks anymore. So rent management. So, and another proprietary software that is really good. And yeah, rent manager guys, hey, y'all want any questions? Okay. So, ask Genesis, Genis, just like Genesis.
What is Genesis?
Genis, ask Genis.
Oh.
About rent manager. So she'll help you, you know. So and that's really great company. So we create this property management because this keeps on booking down. If we get sued, we don't have to worry about an attorney saying, well, you know what, they may have created all this, but they've been having everything in the same bank and they've been just you know, they go to the movies on the same account, they have dinners, they buy Christmas on the same account. You know, this pays for this, he puts money over here, blah, 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 back and forth. They're not keeping books. You know, they're just acting like they're a corporation if they don't do any corporation type practices. So that's what a judge would then say, well, then you get stuff, you get the right. It doesn't happen. But let's just say worst case, right? So to keep that from happening, I just create a property management, right? Which is good because now, again, I can have multiple businesses. I can have a holding company that holds all of my trusts, right? Okay. I can have a management company that deals with everybody. I have books kept real easy, and then we go to the point of having multiple LLCs. So we don't, like I said, we have different businesses, but I can assign that contract. So you get a contract, you can sign it to someone else, sell it, wholesale it, whatever. It's the same thing the way we look at it. We take our own contracts and do it rather at title closing. This is where we come into how we get into our land trust. So if I want to go to an actual title company, just make everything nice for your seller in those situations. So let's just say you go down to Mason, for instance. So you go down to Mason Abstract and Title, and you say, hey, Mike, I need to get this, we've got a closing, yada yada, here's my contract, but I want to go ahead and when you close, just go ahead and write over to my trust name. That's where you do it. You never ever tell your seller or buyer about your trust. But your seller, because you're buying a house or a property, in the closing, it's all done in the documents of the closing. They don't need to know, they don't have any issue. And again, now the trust is already involved. You didn't have to redeed. You didn't have, and that's the thing. So I have it, I'm already on public record. I deed it, now I'm irrelevant, but now I have a trust. But there is a little bit of history. It's no big deal. And you start off automatically as the trust being there. you're even better, right? And I didn't have to send it to my LLC, or then maybe into my trust, or my trust then, you know, so your title, and it's good read, you know, back and forth. But, so, do it at closing. That's the best time if you're buying houses, is to go ahead. And if your title company has any kind of, what? Very likely, you just need to find another title. And this is done all the time. You already have property in your LLC?
Then I need to do the warranty deed, put it over into the trust.
Yes, you will have, so you already have it in your LLC. You deed that to your trust.
And the title company can do the warranty deed for you.
You can even do your own deed.
Oh,
Take your other deed, look at it, change it up. File it. You already have it. It's the same deal. Notarized, file it.
right.
Yep, that's it. Are you worried about a lien on your property or title search? No, you don't need it, right? Because all that's gone. You own it, you incorporate it, yeah, so you don't need to go through, you paid in $800 for nothing.
To another level of protection.
Yeah. So yeah, move yours, and now, you're gone. And if you keep your title, you can still keep your corporation as your whole, and that's what you need to do. Get it to its beneficiary, so that you have the corporate shield, okay? And even if you have your LLC, you don't have serious, no big deal. You still have that first structure that we talked about. You just don't have that nice, easy, hey, I just bought a house, throw it in one, we don't have a problem. We need a bank account, we create one. We need anything to do it. And that way I'm not having to try to go and create LLCs, I'm not messing with SOS, trying to find the name. And I like our name, our corporation name, so I love the subject, you know, seriezing it down.
Pulling this one in, it was some stuff in Houston, so I would start at the bottom.
Right. You start with your land, you gotta create a trust. You create a trust, you then will give all of the interest to that trust. And then that is what takes title at in Houston.
Would I still do the beneficiary as the LLC, or would I do the beneficiary
You will be,
possibly as a personal?
it doesn't matter. It doesn't, okay, it
It's all on
doesn't,
paper.
it's all on paper. Because the only thing that's public is the nominee, right, the trustee. So who cares who owns it behind, because they can never see that if you do it right, right? And even if that happens, you need to go refi, you just flip it back to yourself, put it in, flip it out, whatever. You really have to, and you really don't want to talk, you deed it back to yourself, go file it, go get your refi, go home, re-deed it back to your land trust. I know.
Oh, no, it's
It's terribly
necessary.
hard when you have to mess with a titling company. When you get it in a trust, all that stuff goes away.
Wow.
So that's the benefit of
Well, I
the
had it
trust.
already, but I asked to make it more answer. Because the people that I was doing the trust, that I do the trust
Gray
with,
guys in suits.
they, so I'll just do it anyway. He already, I gave him his opportunity to
And
say
in
something.
Houston, it's, you're gonna live there, right?
Own a home in Galveston.
Yeah, but it's not a rental, it's not gonna have any liability rental property wise, right?
Yes. It's not my house. It's a storage unit facility.
Oh, okay, well, then you may, no matter what, see, again, I can't help you by just keeping all your eggs in one basket. When you're in Houston, they have in Houston, that's the flooding stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? And your stuff is in there with their stuff in it. When their stuff floods, then you have liability. But you don't, you create a suit. I mean, you're gonna spend money likely anyway to create an LLC just to put that one thing in, right? So you might as well try it serious.
It's got two different campuses per se. Two different
Series 1?
facilities.
First, yeah, series number 1, you know, property, whatever, you know, number 2 property. That's how I do it. Otherwise, you didn't get flooded at one, you got broke in, or one burned down.
Right.
You have liabilities.
I have
Even if you have
liability.
insurance, you have umbrellas.
Right.
We still have to go through the suit.
Right.
And that's another thing. If you guys have never been in lawsuits, I hope you never have to have it. Okay? Yeah. I have 2 on the plate right now. And I'd like a third, but not a third.
The first one.
One more question, anybody got one more question?
I hope I kept on track. You will find a little bit of information on bigger pockets maybe, but you're not going to find it. Listen, I go in and I talk to attorneys. We have business attorneys, we have CPAs, and when we explain what we're wanting to do, they go, nobody does it that way. That is awesome. And I'm just telling you, nobody is quiet, and I've looked and looked and looked. I've yet to find anybody that necessarily uses the series and then trust to protect it. I'm not saying they're not. I just don't find anybody giving this information. Okay? They probably are, but they're not coming in an REI and giving it away.
No.
Okay? So use it, realize, go out and search for series or cells. Okay? Series or cells, that's the key. And then you want to try to just do as much research on trust in real estate. Land trust in real estate. But again, land is a bad word. And I think my opinion, the reason why they don't like it is because they think you're going to hide a bunch of real estate in it for some reason. And I think it does come from attorneys from the east and north coming from the Chicago field. It has to be. I'm going to ask one of my attorneys about that. They tell me. So, but yeah, but series LLCs, and even if you go into your attorney, they're just going to be like, just make sure they don't get subsidiary. Okay, series LLC, and you know, you'll put an S in front of it, and they'll delete it every time you do it. So it's just normal. You go to Google, and it'll try to throw you off that S. But it is a series LLC. But again, it's been around for 11 years, it's in 11 states. So just remember, I wish we had a little more time, because I would have ran y'all through on how to keep your LLCs from being found, and how you set up from one state to the next, and then you create your trust, and then that way they can't ever, even if they were to ever decline your court, get into your deal and get that from the judge, they would never be able to find out who owns the first LLC. If they did, they'd never find out from the second. And that's easy to be found out too, guys. It's, you know, Nevada, Wyoming, and Oregon. Those are your main 3 states. You just set one up, switch it from being a manager member to a member manager, create one to hold the other. Bingo. Now, if you got to do business as here, you create one of these LLCs in Texas, so that your LLC here has your name for Texas, not your LLC that you're going to have to tell who really owns it from your other states. Did you kind of catch what I said? So if you create an LLC in those other states, they help to keep you hidden. All right, the owner of those LLCs. And all I'm doing is creating an LLC that has a reference from one state to another state. So a member, basically this one owns this one, and neither one of these states will give up back information, let's just say, okay? So you would have an LLC that even if they were able to see in the first one, can't see in the second. You can't see who owns, you know, in that, who's the manager is all you get. You're not going to get the members, okay? Nevada, Oregon, and Wyoming. Wyoming's like 50 bucks to LLCs every year, so they're pretty good. So when you do series, they really are cheap. But anyway, if you do that LLC, so you got that created, you never want to register the LLC in Texas because you got to put your name on it. But if you had to, at least you have one LLC closed. They never ever, Texas would just see that one LLC from Nevada owns the one that was in Wyoming. Okay, so you have to do it at least twice to get that from Texas. But I don't mess with that. We create a property management company in Texas. Have them send us our money to Wyoming. LLC. Done. Because I'm not going to do DBA. I'm not going to do business as this company in Texas. If I did, then I have to file. I'm going to do business as this in Texas. Have my money sent back to my closed LLC. Got it?
As you guys can tell, he can throw this together in 2 minutes, so.